You must stay at home. You must stay at home.
Hello, people, and welcome to the first episode of the Lockdown Sum Up, a brand new debate show to keep you occupied during lockdown. As you know, Boris has us locked up again, even though people are at school, but that's a whole different story. So we thought we would give you something to laugh, something to talk about, the families, dinner parties. Wait, we're locked up. Okay, just talk about it in your room by yourself. But we have a great cast of people. So we have Ellie, we have Adekola, we have Yasmin, we have Ruth, we have two names. So we've got the first name, we got the second name, which is Naila, we got Aaron, we've got Rianne, we have a person from Atlanta in the building. She's here. Lachey, hey girl, hey. And we have Dami. So for this week, the question is Trump or Biden, who should have won? If you do think, actually I'm curious, if you do think Trump is racist, can you raise your hand, please? Racist. Okay. If you think Biden is racist, raise your hand.
Probably.
I don't know enough about him.
My guy was voting for segregated schools as recently as the 80s, fam. We think this is.
Personally, I don't think I would vote for either of them. If I had a gun to my head and I had to pick one, I hate to say it would be Trump.
I just think Trump, I don't know. I think like he brings out hate in people. 10 years ago, the American dream, or you go there for bigger opportunities because England didn't have it. And it's like now it's like a war zone, like a full-on war zone.
There are lots of things that Obama and Hillary Clinton wanted to do, and many Americans felt as if they were getting left behind. Trump was the only person that said they wanted to preserve certain fundamental rights. So, for example, Second Amendment, which allows you to legally own a firearm.
But do you think their actions follow through with what they say?
With Trump said he wants to build the wall. The wall, you can see the wall is being built, although it probably won't be finished now.
The House and the Senate have been stopping him from building the wall.
But I don't understand why he would need to build a wall. I don't.
It's to keep people out. Having an open border makes no sense. It's like saying you have vegan fried chicken. What do you think is right or wrong? I'm just playing devil's advocate here.
I think a lot of these ideologies are not founded on logical thinking, and I think that reflects in his campaign. He has this thing about power. He's unsettling things that you shouldn't really be doing. So, for example, this pandemic, no matter what your views are, you're the president.
I'm not going to pretend, guys, that I'm clued up about politics and stuff. I just know some of the facts. So he's against abortion. That just does not make sense to me. He doesn't believe in climate change. He's not for LGBTQ rights. He's said that people who are transgender can't be in the military. These are so backwards and so in the past. And he separated hundreds of mothers from their children at the border. And I just cannot forgive that. I think that's absolutely disgusting.
When human rights come into question for anything, let alone being a president, throw the whole human away. I cannot justify babies, kids lying on the floor, not enough food, not enough water, separated from their parents as a justification for being an illegal human, because no human is illegal.
First of all, Naila, you're so right. Yeah, these are two old white men. Sorry, but it is what it is. They've grown up with all of those traditions instilled within them to not like people who are different. Back when Trump was doing You're Fired, he used to say to his people, don't have black people in my home. They're grown up in this world.
Right.
No. I'm not saying it doesn't make it right. Like, there are things we can do about it, most definitely. Biden's just all of a sudden now decided to be woke for the clout of being president. They're all as bad as each other. I'm in a stand by none of them. I would have voted for Kanye if I was in America, because that's just as bad.
No.
That is funny.
No, but seriously, no. But in all honesty, every single time I vote, I soil my vote, because there's none of them there for me. And that's my way of just being rebellious. Yay!
It is the lesser of two evils. History has shown us that typically straight Caucasian men haven't been for the rights of anyone else but straight Caucasian men. But if everyone had the same mindset of not voting, then we would continue to still be in the same predicament. In terms of not voting, what do people kind of think about that kind of topic?
I don't think we have to be realistic at all, because we're in a position now. I mean, Biden's won. No one's policing what we're saying, and we can say what the hell we like. About voting, I think it's such a waste. And you are not you personally. I'm not like having to dig at you, but it's throwing it away, and people died to get us the right to vote.
I 100% agree with you, Ellie. You should 100% vote. I have arguments with my friends who don't vote. And as a woman, as a Black person, there's two things that people have had to overcome that's like me to vote. So why would I not then?
I found the younger generation, and probably myself when I was younger, they don't see the point. Go there, tick something, see the policy, see what they want to do, but just try and vote, because, you know, people have died.
We have to, instead of us blaming politicians full stop, we have to ask ourselves, like, how we got there in the first place. I read an interesting stat a couple of weeks ago that said that during this presidential campaign, Donald Trump has improved relations with every single ethnic group in America except white men. So there's no point in us sitting here and saying he's a racist, this, that, and the other, when parts of our own community voted for him. Because if you're saying that he's racist, then they're gonna say that we're racist as well. And look, it's the idea of no human being being illegal. Of course, there's going to be consequences. I'm not saying he handled the situation the best way possible. As for Joe Biden now, Joe Biden was supporting racial segregation in schools up until recently at the 80s. Kamala Harris, the vice president, before she ran for vice president, she was saying that she was she identified as Asian American. When she started to vote, she was African American. Now she's got it, she's gone back to being Asian. Do you not think that Biden, they're just two sides of the same coin? Obama's not a saint. What did Obama do that made people so desperate that he voted for Trump instead?
I'm not saying that he was, but I'm saying you come from having a Black president.
Yeah.
You come from having a Black president who has represented the minority.
Not all the time.
Now a lot of racists and a lot of people did not like that. Yeah, not all the time. I'm not saying he did. Like I said, I'm not saying any president is perfect. But you've gone from that to now people having an uprising and saying, we don't like that. We don't like the fact that he's giving everything to Black people. So they wanted someone who's not a politician and someone who is, he can represent us. Yeah, he can represent what we really think.
Proportionally,
and that's what happened.
Proportionally, more people voted for Donald Trump than Hillary Clinton, who's supposed to be Obama's successor. So why is that? So I did it for xenophobic reasons.
Donald
I don't believe
Trump
that.
Actually lost the popular vote both times. So
if you're looking at 2016 vote, Donald Trump didn't win. Right?
I hope you have the same energy for Joe Biden now, who done the same thing. I just hope you have that same energy.
Biden has more popular vote.
He has won the popular vote.
Biden has got more votes than Trump.
To piggyback off what Aaron said, I was team Obama, but I didn't see a lot of stuff or did my research until after Obama came out of office. And to be honest, America is brainwashed. Everybody that was saying lock up the police that killed Breonna Taylor, all of those people, and then you turn around and say Biden, I look at you as a hypocrite, because if you're going to do your research, these laws that are made to cover up the police, Biden's name is the one that created all these laws. Dude, I disagree with some stuff Trump say, but on paper, he have done more than any president have done. Like with the whole prison reform. I can talk about that because my fiance have been locked up for 9 years. Because of that new law that was formed, it cut his time in half. He have not killed nobody. He have not robbed nobody, which, yes, is consequences for your action. But our Black men are getting life sentence for selling drugs, not killing nobody. They're getting more time for selling drugs than people that are molesting children, that are raping children. My business took off this year. I never seen so many Black people come up in entrepreneurship, I got several friends that got $10,000. They don't have to pay that money back. I was a Democrat. Democrat don't really want us to win.
I think Democrats want to keep people in this kind of mindset that is kind of reliant on the state. In the 60s, Democrats started to pass laws in America that effectively helped to ruin the Black family unit by introducing a very, very, very generous welfare system. And single mothers, with all due respect, mothers cannot teach men how to be men. You don't own me. This is why I think probably we have to break out of the mentality where it's like everything's just reliant on the state.
A lot of the policies or things that are passed now under Trump weren't actually signed off by Trump. So, for example, the Veterans Act, Trump put that down as one of the greatest accomplishments in his presidential career. It was actually Obama that signed that off in Congress, and then he took responsibility for that. Also, there's a lot of evidence to suggest and actually prove that the economic rise that America's gone through and that's helped small businesses was actually started by Barack Obama. Oftentimes, people of color start something, and then what ends up happening is their successor gets the pat on the back, well done. And also, in terms of welfare, people were literally dying because they couldn't afford to feed their children. So welfare had to be upped, people had to be helped. And the thing about emasculating the black community, I don't think making people reliant on welfare is what emasculated men. I think men chose not to be fathers, they chose to have babies and run out on their baby moms. It happened for a reason. People needed it, helping them. But yeah,
what's the excuse now?
The excuse, well, you can talk about redlining, which has been outlawed, but still unfortunately happens. You can talk about people of color, minorities still being less likely to get loans from the bank, to get mortgages. You can talk about a whole host of things.
I think the main thing that people seem to neglect is the fact that Trump is a very smart guy, but you need to have a certain level of intelligence and charisma to get all these people to be following you and basically taking your word as the Bible. They are both bad, just Trump will come out and say like, yeah, I don't like black people. Well, Biden is there like, well, you're not supposed to say that. But I mean, I agree with you, but you shouldn't say that. You're saying stuff like Trump has been saying all of this for time. Like even when he was younger and like when he was still a businessman and everything, saying if he ever became a politician, what he'd be a Republican because they're easier to manipulate and stuff like that.
This conversation is heated. I like it.
I agree with you saying because that is so true. My problem was with Obama was a lot of stuff that he didn't try, even though I understand because that is true. Some stuff he started and but Trump got the credit for it. Mm-hmm. But a lot of stuff I felt like Obama was a yes man. Obama acting like a real life thug right now. Like he popping off, he's saying stuff, but you should have had that same energy when you was in office. Want it?
I hear you.
For us.
Yeah, that's an interesting opinion.
But couldn't that be because he was black though?
No.
Because, like, yeah, okay, we've got a black president, but whatever you want to do for the country, we're not going to let you do it. We've given the people what they want. Everyone screamed for a black president, the first one. But anything you want to do, it's not going to happen.
That's what I'm saying. You've got to hold people to a higher standard than the color of your skin. Being black doesn't necessarily equate to being good.
No,
it's not to say that black people aren't good.
Because he was black, they've given the people what they wanted. Yeah. But just like when he's put in the laws that he wanted to do for the country, by the time he ran, he's already out, and Donald Trump's, hence why Donald Trump got, the clout for what Obama really started.
Yeah.
Who do you blame for that then?
I think that's because of the color of his skin. Like black people in the White House, since when?
No, almost like when you talk about black people in the workplace, where you have to portray yourself in a different way.
I think we also have to remember that the Obamas faced a lot more scrutiny before he had even been elected as president than previous people. The Clinton sisters, the daughters were out there running wild. Even now, Obama's daughter, I think the younger one, Malia, she just made a TikTok and she was singing, they said nigger in the song, and the whole media's up in arms, and this man isn't even president at the time. Sometimes when your skin is darker than a certain color, I personally believe that you have to move in a certain way. And in that
exactly.
That you have the media say that his wife is a man, she's transgender, they got Donald Trump himself was saying that, where's Obama's birth certificate? He couldn't believe that Obama was born in America. And just because of the color of his skin, bear in mind, the man's mum is white. Don't forget, he is actually mixed race. So if just having a black father, people are questioning your identity and where you're from and misgendering your wife, the mother of your children, that's even before he's got into office. So I think there is something to be said about your skin color and being a barrier.
You know how much scrutiny that was put on Hillary Clinton,
but
with the emails and stuff.
They scrutinized Hillary Clinton for her actions. They scrutinized Obama because of his skin tone and his wife. Michelle Obama had nothing to do with
him running.
She was a lawyer. She was a student. She was a mother. Talking about Hillary Clinton's email, something that she has done, and saying that someone's wife is a man is two completely different things.
Anything the Obama family did was labeled as wrong. Anything that they could have done was labeled as wrong. Him smoking a spliff, they were like, oh my God, this man is our president.
But Bill Clinton had a whole Monica Lewinsky scandal and was doing PM in cars with assistants.
I remember that. I did not have sex with that woman. Yeah, I remember.
Because I'm pretty sure Obama tried when he got into office to do a few changes, and then I'm sure some people held his hand from doing that. We got the first Black president on our side, and then he got into office, and then he wasn't able to make the changes that, well, what we thought as a Black community was going to be made.
I think we get better results when we all come together.
I've just been listening. It's been really eye-opening to hear everyone's opinions. They're basically like all the same. Like some may sort of say things like Trump just speaks his mind, and he says sometimes says outrageous things, but I think a lot of them might be thinking the same thing at the same time. I think like they're just all as bad as each other. They just all sort of want to have this sort of ego, be in power.
One thing that I think hasn't really been spoken about as much is where we think the moral standing of people gets into this conversation. So I'm curious to know, when it comes to allegations made and the fact that we can't forget the infamous grabbing women by the pussies, where do we think the moral standing of these people who are standing in office ranks on what their contributions to business are, or welfare, the economy, and just their moral standings?
That's actually a good question. Well,
there's a lot of talk about their policies, but as people, what do we think? What do we think about people and where their actual hearts lie?
That just goes back to
they don't have it.
My original argument. Like they're all the same. Anybody that's gonna apply for that position is gonna be shit. Let's be honest. But like I said, it's kind of like you have to vote someone. So look at the lesser of two evils. And in this case, Trump was just way up there. Like in my opinion.
A lot of the times, a lot of these politicians tend to be in the same group. They have some type of scandal or conspiracy, whatever, which is like, why don't we have better options? Would probably be the better question. If someone does come along who, well, is clean, then somehow we don't agree with them for some type of reason.
Honestly, some of the ways he interacts with women, Joe Biden, it reminds me of like Jimmy Savile and these men. I would say that if these people are...
Yeah, no one said he was an angel.
And I'm not excusing Donald Trump's comments. Donald Trump's comments were taken way before he decided to run for office.
No, but he said that he would, something about his daughter. His daughter was, sleep with his daughter. If he was younger, he was sleep with his daughter.
If it wasn't his daughter, he would...
Yeah, I get that.
Who is even talking like that?
Because obviously you could have been doing that then. As time progressed, you educate yourself. But what I did want to quickly ask though,
same energy for Trump then.
But he hasn't done that yet. He hasn't changed. There hasn't been a shift yet.
We don't know that.
No, we do. Because you touched on, I can't remember exactly who it was, but somebody touched on the fact as to why people voted for Trump and what's led to that over what we came from with Obama. Did you ever consider maybe in regard to that shift, when we was Obama, we were fighting about race? When it came to the shift about it being Donald Trump and Hillary, we're fighting about gender. What if there's a notion that America isn't necessarily ready to have a female president?
You're right. And also, I do agree with what you said. Sometimes you can change, because sometimes you can be raised one way and thought that was the correct way and then change over time. Because even I have a whole family, well, my daughter have a whole community of white family that like love her and treat her like they're her grandchild. So how they was raised, sometimes they do make racial comments, and I'm be blunt, like she called my baby a monkey, but that's not her heart. I don't see the love, and I just had to correct her.
And I'm really sorry for the way I'm about to say this, but I'm an honest and blunt person. America's education system is trash, right? America's education system is trash. You cannot sit there and tell me that that's not true, Aaron. The education system is trash. I lived in Los Angeles actually for about 9 to 10 months. The way that they have been raised as a country, their education system is all still based on those old school ideologies. And that's why, like, a load of people have been throwing around the questions, why do we have these elected as presidents? Why do we have to make this choice? Because that's the system that has raised them.
Every person, as individuals, we have to have a certain set of morals and values, right? There are certain morals and values that people have. Hear what I'm saying? Hear what I'm saying?
Yes, but not all of us are taught like that.
The only people that have racially abused me in my life have been other black people. You call it progression, somebody else might call it a violation of their beliefs.
I need an example. Because my brain is a bit scrambled. I think people forget there's a reason why black people vote for Democrats, for example, in high levels or high numbers. It's not just willy-nilly. It's because traditionally the Republicans weren't there for black people, not even black people, just in general, the working class, because often the lines between class and race get blurred. And also the part about Trump being a businessman, this has been bugging me this whole chat. Can we please just all agree as well that his business has not all the time been ethical or logical? I'll never forget, I watched the interview and Trump said, I didn't get that much help. I only got $1 million from my dad to start my business. I will never forget that. So don't think that he's just here for the working class, because he's not.
I forgot my point now.
Trump created a fake university. He's
a small loan of $1 million, I think it was.
Yeah, so I just want to put that out there.
With a Zoom, not a Zoom call, a Skype call, but they couldn't see my face. With this with, like, it was a market research company to introduce policies in the Labour and Conservative Party to help ethnic minorities do as well as I am. So because they heard my voice and they saw that I was a successful photographer, they automatically assumed that I was white, meaning they must have had an extremely low opinion of what a black person is supposed to look like. It's almost as if some of them think that these policies are going to help me. The policies they were talking about weren't going to help me at all. Not all white people are rich. Not all black people are poor. I said to them, okay, well, unfortunately for your argument, you'll find that I'm not a white man. I'm a black man, and I put my camera on. They'll saying things to me like, they want to see ethnic minorities do well for themselves. And it's like, do you really think that low of ethnic minorities that you think they're all not doing well, fam? The richest man in this country is Asian. 2 Asian people bought Asda the other day.
Those are exceptions. Those aren't the rule.
So
exceptions.
Yeah. So Aaron, you have experienced racism from other people that are not.
But they're not.
People have called me a coon and a sellout and an N-word simply because I have political perspective. No white person told me that.
In the UK, racism isn't necessarily outright in your face, like you N-word, you. That doesn't mean that a white person hasn't been racist to you. It's almost like you've just brushed it off. It's like,
no. You're not gonna gaslight me like that. There's no way you're gonna gaslight me like that. No way.
You'd be so surprised because, okay, like for example now, right? I could have told you, listen, my name is Dami. Just call me that. Like for example, when I was in school, I told you my name is Dami. Just call me Dami. You don't need to stumble over your words. Just call me Dami. So if I've expressed that to you, will you come in and say, only that's just different.
I think that's just gaslighting. Because now you're asking me to literally question my own experience.
I don't think she's saying you to question your experience, but I think what she's trying to say is that, because you haven't experienced it, doesn't mean it's not there.
You may have not meant it to come out that way, but you kind of made it seem like because you're a black man and doing well, other black people can do what I did. It's not always that easy, and I just think sometimes. It's not
what I'm saying.
Statistically, Asians and blacks in this country are at a lesser advantage in terms of money, in terms of job prospects, in terms of housing, in terms of being given loans. Like, that's statistics.
And that rubs me up the wrong way, you know. It really does.
The general consensus, in my opinion, is that we are progressing, and black people, ethnic minorities are doing way better and continuing to progress. Black women are like the most educated people in the country, in the UK.
Yeah, okay.
But just because we're doing so well doesn't mean we should forget the other people. It's like when I hear people say, oh, but you have a black prime minister or president. He was number 44. It took 44 presidents to get to that point. So just because you're saying there's a black person who was in power at that time does not mean that every other black person is on the way to be prime minister or president.
Maybe I didn't phrase it properly, but from what this person said to me, how can I as a white person be a savior? I don't need that kind of victim mentality in my life. When you're saying about how I'm the exception to the rule, well, I still matter the person as well, you know.
You matter, but you made it seem as if because you're successful, it's wrong for her to think or for her to want to put in policies to help other people that look like you.
She said ethnic minority. She talks about the entire thing.
I think
it's not
that
true.
Is an interesting
it's not
thing.
True. It's like when you have those white people that go to Africa to look at the kids and they just hold the camera up and say, look at me, I'm feeding African kids with bread and Evian water.
Aaron, but why are we so surprised at this? Why are you surprised at this? We're literally living in a system that was built by and for white people.
Precisely. Amen.
It's a white continent. What did you expect them to build a white continent for black people and people of color when it's not?
Brother, I'm asking you, what did you expect? Because you're sitting there.
Cool. See,
I'm asking you, what did you expect? What did you expect?
Why I tell you what I expected. I expected people to see me as an individual beyond the color of my skin.
Well,
they don't.
But people don't work like that.
Neither do you though. Neither do you guys though. Neither do you guys then.
I'm sorry to speak for everybody, but I guarantee every single one of us has been in that position.
Why is it when we were talking about Joe Biden and Donald Trump just now, the first thing that people said is he's an old white man? I don't understand how that makes sense, man. We're not even talking about the policies now. We're just saying it's a country built for old white men. So we're using their immutable characteristics against them.
What we're doing is that we are stating the fact of the matter, because however you look at it, the system was made by rich old white men to benefit themselves and also look down on those who do not fall into their category.
Those are people that have been running the country in the West and gone into countries that are not in the West and ruined them.
Are we saying that white people, the only white people specifically, whiteness, what you want to call it, is the origin of everything that we know as to be evil today?
I personally believe whiteness as a concept, not white people as individuals, but the concept of whiteness has had a very detrimental effect on the way the world has run.
Everyone has like a different opinion. So everyone's been through like a different life. Like not one of us are the same in any way. To me, like I don't have an opinion on it because obviously being white, I've never experienced racism. I just think like that's Aaron's feeling, like that's what he's felt, so like that's what I just accept how he felt.
Please do not, and I hesitate to say this, but I'll say it anyway. There's a concept called white guilt. I plead with you, person to person, do not buy into it. Please do not buy into it.
I love people like no matter what. I don't feel guilty about what, like obviously I feel like it's disgusting what has happened in the past, but obviously I don't feel guilty because I wasn't there.
And you shouldn't have to feel guilty.
I really don't buy into the idea of white guilt, because me as a straight person, trans people from the LGBT community are being killed every single day, and I don't feel a sense of straight guilt. I just know that I'm not personally hurting them. I'm going to do what I can to help my friends or to just be a positive voice for that community. I don't buy into the idea of white guilt because I don't think I need to tell somebody, don't feel sorry for what your ancestors done. I just think to me it's like telling the person someone got shot and then telling the ambulance driver, oh, don't feel sorry that you couldn't stop them from getting shot.
Right. This is very interesting how we've gone from the American election to talking about race now, but
it was bound to happen. It was bound to happen.
Would you rather be in the UK or be in America?
I'll take the UK.
I'm going back to Ghana.
Really?
With America, it's racism in the form of police brutality, in the form of hate crime, in the form of like this is real deep themes.
It's interesting you say that, because then someone else might say they'd rather America because they know that's in your face, rather than the UK where, or more like first way to fix a problem is to accept you have a
I
problem.
know it's like the devil you know is better than the devil you don't know.
The
But in
UK
this
don't wanna
situation, I'm gonna
accept
take the
it's
devil. I'm gonna take the devil I don't know.
I actually think the UK and US are very similar. The only difference is the US has guns. I think if the UK had
Yep.
guns, and I'll tell you, people talk about police brutality, but it happens a lot in England. But my friend from primary school was killed by a police officer in a shop 3 years ago. I still go by that shop. So for people outside or people that just see videos of the police shooting, they will say, "Oh yeah, the UK is fine. There's not police brutality." Well, I can tell you that there is. It's just not as you see it.
In your face.
They're so gung-ho on the Constitution that they forget the Constitution was written 400 years ago by people who are very different from today. They also don't treat every state as the same. People in jail for weed, then you've got white people doing yoga sessions, selling weed on the outside, and they're making money from it. Racism is kind of intrinsically entanglement. America is in an entanglement with racism. They'll have books from 2012 and in the public schools, and in schools that have more money poured into them will have 20 books from 2020. So who's gonna get the better education? Like there's even a new conversation that's been happening because books are teach from different vantage points. So some books will teach you from the vantage point of the victor or the conqueror, or some are now trying to look at actually what is the other side. I think it's a more problem with government, a problem with the fact that the US has guns, because I guarantee you now, if the UK had guns,
Jesus, back to Nigeria
definitely. I'm sorry, but do you know how many times I've been stopped and searched? Dad, yeah, bro, no.
It would be the same. My friend was choked to death in a corner shop, and there was no guns.
Oh my lord!
Do you know how many times I've been stopped and searched? I would guess.
Zero.
It's nice, isn't it? I know. It's nice.
That's nice for you. That's what we said.
Yeah, so it all depends. I mean, what's the difference between you and me?
The comparison between you and Ade is quite obvious.
Because I was gonna say, Aaron, you're lighter skin.
You're lighter skin.
Even in
that's the bottom line. No, Aaron, but that's the bottom line though. Like that is the bottom line of it.
But that's what happened in slavery. The darker the skin, you was out in the field. If you was lighter, you
bottom
be in
line
the
of
house.
it.
I'm lighter skin, so it's not even about being black anymore. So we've moved it. So it's no longer about being black. Now it's about the color of your skin specifically. Not to do with being black. So being black isn't enough.
Wait. Let's break this down.
We're not gonna get into that, but you do know that is a thing, Aaron, right?
Like it's actually so prominent.
Like
black people, you know that, right? There's colorism amongst black people. You understand that, right?
Yes, I understand that.
Right.
Slaves were categorized by the color of their skin as well.
Which is exactly what you guys are doing now.
Right? So when I said, right, that do you know how many times I've been stopped and searched? Why did you bring up how many times you've been stopped and searched?
Yeah.
Let's go along that.
Tell you why. I'm trying to show that there's a difference between me and you, because I think that sometimes we have this echo chamber. Someone called me an exception to the rule. That is very, very, very hurtful to me, because it feels as if my experience isn't as valid as you guys. People like me who have had very similar experiences to me as well. It's not just me.
I think we're getting off track, but just because I feel like we gotta go soon anyway. But
yes, please. I think for
my brain is fried. I think many of us here are the exception to the rule. Stating a fact is not invalidating an experience. It's just stating facts.
You're talking about one or two people. How many people have to have a certain lifestyle before they matter as much as the people who have other lifestyles?
Not about
it's numbers. It's numbers.
Not about mattering, it's looking at the facts. The facts are black women are 5 times more likely to die in childbirth because the illnesses are not believed. The facts of the matter is black people are less likely to receive loans from the bank. They're less likely to receive jobs. They're discriminated against because of their hair. It's just the truth. So when we talk about you, it's not about saying that your experiences are not valid, that you're not black for having a certain political opinion, that you're not able, that you shouldn't be successful. It's a sad fact, but it's the truth.
But it's a fact.
I don't agree with that, but that's up to you guys. I don't believe in this. I don't believe it. For Brexit, I think it was 52-48. Are you saying that because the 52% won, the 48 are the exception to the rule? This is the same reason why, it's the same mindset why people call me an Uncle Tom and a coon and a sellout. Because there's a consensus that because I am black, there's a consensus because I'm black, it's this. And if I go against that in any way, shape or form, then I don't belong there.
We belong
We're
together.
all listen. We're all exceptions to the rule. The fact that for some people, being an exception to the rule isn't necessarily seen in a negative light. I own the fact that I'm an exception to the rule. I own the fact that, you know what? Yeah, I'm black and I have a law degree and I graduated and I'm a mom. I'm a young mom, but I'm still doing good. I'm an exception to. I'm a young mom and an exception. There's a lot of things that I could be the exception to the rule for. It just highlights my hard work. It just highlights that I'm damn good, and I would say with my full chest. And I think I would encourage you to see it that way.
I think we could all agree that just politics in general is a whole load of blurred lines. I don't think that there's a right and there's a wrong answer. I don't think there's an all Trump or all Biden. And just wait and see what this president now will do. What did she do, babe? We did it, Joe. We did it, Joe.
She the
I actually
Joker.
love that video. I don't know why yet, but I actually really love that video. I've watched it over and over again.
So black when she was running and she's Asian again. That's all it is.
But she's allowed
We did it, Joe.
She's allowed to be though. She can interchange. That's the thing about having mixed. I'm Nigerian when I want to be, and I'm British when I want to be.
Right.
So we all do it.
Yeah, 100%.
Depends on the context though, but not when you're running for president. Don't you have to get a certain kind of vote to get you in there? That's different.
Politicians been doing this for time.
That's what politicians
do.
do.
What they can. They get what they can.
Oh well. Yeah.
So, guys, to end it there, I think it'll be a perfect way to end. I want to say thank you guys for joining for the first episode. Aaron looks mad.
I'm vexed.
This is the beauty of debate. You're going to be angry, you're going to get upset, but that's the whole reason we have these conversations, because if more of these conversations can be had, then hopefully things will continue to progress even more. Thank you for watching, to the people who watched the first episode, and be sure to follow everyone. We got Aaron, who's vexed, we got Dami, we got Rihanna, we got Lachey, we got Anicola, we got Yasmin, and we got Ruth holding it down. But thank you for watching. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Yeah.